Hey, what's happening, Mystery Seekers? So this video is going to save you money, time, and possibly your life if you're planning on building a new build-out inside of a van or trailer or a box van or whatever. So this is top 10 things to consider. I'll probably come up with a different name for this video. Anyway, number one is leak test. Definitely before you get started, before you even rip anything out, get a hose, just a standard like garden hose with one of those pressurized nozzles that uses to spray stuff down. Go around all the windows, all the doors, go straight down, go at angles, because in certain parts of the country or different parts of the world, rain does go sideways and it goes pretty hard. So if it passes with a hose, then you should be good to go. A lot of times you use like a pressure washer, in a car wash or something. That's such intense pressure that there's no way the rain's ever gonna fall that hard. So if it leaks from that, you might still be okay. Mine leaks from pressure washers, but does not leak from rain. I've been in some intense storms. So on to number two, when you're designing the layout, you may want to consider designing it a way that's easy to clean. So we're driving these vehicles all the time. We're encountering all kinds of dust, pollen. We're going to new parts of the world, or different parts of whatever country you're in or whatever. And you're going to be accumulating a bunch of different pollens and dusts and all kinds of stuff in your home. And you want to keep it clean, man, because the messier it is and the dirtier it is, the more likely you are to get sick. It's a very small enclosed space. So keep your stuff clean, clean it up. And it very much helps to have, when you build out your cabinets and everything, to have not only like less nooks and crannies where the stuff can accumulate, but also the surfaces you may want to think about. For instance, painted wood is fairly easy to clean, but something like stainless steel is extremely easy to clean, but it's also expensive and a little harder to work with unless you've got, like a full metal shop or whatever. Raw wood is a no-go, very easy for mold to grow on it. Mold is a big problem in vans. Not only leaks, but just our breath, when we exhale, moisture comes out. And because it's cold outside and it's warm inside, that creates condensation on your windows. And as condensation builds up on your windows, it drips down. And so you've got standing water in your van all of a sudden, and that creates mold. So, yeah. Think about that. I'm a little ADD today, sorry about that. Number three is ventilation, cooking. Main thing is like the placement of the ceiling fan back here. I put mine all the way in the back, and the theory behind that is that the front windows, I can leave them cracked, that much. I have the louver things that go over them so that rain can't get in, even though they're cracked open. And a full air exchange will happen of all the air, all the way from the front of the van, all the way to the back, will get pulled out and replaced constantly by the roof fan. I kind of wish that I had put it in the middle for two reasons. One is that I always cook in the middle, so when I'm cooking food, especially with like onions and stuff, when I cook with onions, my eyes just go like, they get all watery and stuff. And smelly stuff like cabbage and stuff. I've never actually cooked cabbage, but if I did, it would be nice for it to just go straight out the vent instead of going all the way back there and passing my bed and stuff on the way and kind of staining that with the smell of it, you know what I mean? So having the roof vent right above your cooking place is very nice. But also the roof rack that I have on the roof of this van would hide the vent very, very well. It would be a little bit more stealthy. It'd be a little harder to for people to know that somebody is living in there. So on to number four, toxicity of materials. Not a lot of people have talked about this, but it's pretty important. A lot of the household materials we have, especially carpet and like MDF wood and even paints, different paints, are very toxic and very bad for us. And over time, those VOCs, the volatile organic compounds that these materials release, could really make us sick and even possibly give us cancer. From what I've read, I'm no doctor, I'm no chemist, I'm not an expert. In fact, everything you hear me say in this video, I want you to, if it strikes a chord with you and you think it's important, I want you to go out and research it for yourself. Do not take my word for everything. Be your own authority. So, toxicity of materials. The paint I used inside of this thing is no VOC paint, and it's supposed to absorb VOCs. I have no idea how that works. It's called Harmony, and it's by a company, Sherwin-Williams, and it's good paint. I like it. It's held up really well. There's some really high wear areas where it's worn down a little bit. But those are wood on wood areas that I use every day, so I expect that with any paint. Also, I got rid of the carpet in my van and put in laminate floor. I don't know about the toxicity of that. It might be toxic, The deal with this is there doesn't seem to be a way to completely avoid using toxic materials in your van. You can only minimize them and reduce them as much as possible, and always have airflow going, always have fresh air. But it's the same thing in a house. It's just a bigger space, so it takes longer for those volatile organic compounds, slow down, Jed, to build up. You know, in such a small space, they can be much more concentrated. So yeah, looking at the toxicity of different materials, I used Peel and Seal for anti-vibration on the different metal panels, and I found out that it's made out of asphalt, which is really, really toxic, and that's why I haven't, and I had to remove it, and it was a total pain in the ass, and that's why I haven't put any like rattle trap or dynamat or anything like that down on my wheel wells or the floorboard or anything, so I don't know the toxicity of it. They don't say it's toxic, they don't say it's not toxic, so I've got to email the companies and find out for myself. Number 5 is weight distribution, and number 5 and 6 are going to tie into each other. So weight distribution, the first time I built my van, and I've rebuilt this thing like 4 times, so I'm getting ready for a 5th. I put a bunch of heavy stuff, including the battery, in the very back corner, and I noticed when I brake, it would dive to a corner, and the braking was off balance because the weight was very off balance, and I had a lot of heavy stuff in the back, and it crouched, and it just made it, the van didn't handle right when it was like that. And then when I rebuilt it and reorganized my things, and, you know, tried to put the heaviest things in the middle above the back axle, such as the battery, and all the other things kind of evened out side to side or more towards the middle as much as possible, my handling and braking improved a lot. And that's really important. A lot of people just load up their vans, they don't even think about that, and it really puts your life and other people's lives at risk. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if your weight distribution's way off, then your handling, your braking's probably off too. So number 6 is accident safety, and by that I mean, are the heavy things secured? You know, if you think about, you're driving 80 miles an hour, if you say you get distracted, say your cell phone rings, a bird flies inside your van, I don't know, something happens, you get distracted, boom, you slam into a semi-truck or something that's stopped, or you slam into a brick building or something. You're going from 80 miles an hour down to nothing. Do you want the things that are in your van flying at you at 80 miles an hour? No, because if your battery does that, it's going to decapitate you, dude. And if you accidentally like drive off the side of a cliff or something, this stuff happens, man. Like, accidents happen every day, all day, like I don't know the real statistic, but it seems like all the time. So point being, if you've got heavy stuff, strap it down, man. Don't let it come flying if you run into something or slam on your brakes. And if you get in some kind of rollover, vans are very susceptible because of their shape to roll. You got to make sure that stuff's not going to be flying around and making the situation any worse, because car accidents are terrible, man. Like, I've never been in one, but I know plenty of people that have, and I've seen videos and everything else, and it looks absolutely horrible. So yeah, tie your stuff down, man. Be careful with that. And one thing I have never seen anybody do, but I really want to get into and make this like a movement, man, is putting our batteries, attaching them to the frame of our van outside of the body. For one, you don't need the sealed batteries anymore. For 2, the weight is much lower. For 3, it's much safer because that thing's not going to be flying around inside your van under any circumstance. And 4, you can use the open top batteries, you know, and you can save a lot of money that way. So think about mounting your battery to your frame. You can get I guess they're called brackets that hold your battery to your frame. You can either weld them on or bolt them on. I think that is an excellent thing that people should start doing. So number 7 is when you're designing the layout, think about the requirements for converting the title of your van to an RV. There's at least one really, really big benefit, and that is insurance is cheaper. Number 2, you can get into RV only campgrounds. Number 3, I've heard, and I don't know this for fact, but I've heard that alcohol and firearm laws are different in an RV than they are in a passenger vehicle. I don't know for certain, but I heard that you can have like a bottle of liquor, you know, that's sealed, it's not sitting right next to you, you're not drinking it while you're driving, I hope. But you can't get an open container for it if it's in an RV. And I've heard that gun laws are different too. I don't know for sure. This is US only. I don't know anything about the laws in other countries. Something to think about. Let's see, what's next here? We have number 8. It may take trial and error. Man, like I just said, I'm about to rebuild this thing for the 5th time. So my suggestion see, here's the thing, like, everybody's different, they work different ways. Some people can plan this thing out in their head and just do it, but the thing is that nobody, like, it's not normal for people to build living spaces in these tiny little areas like a van. So we're like, no matter how many other vans you see, how many videos you see, how many articles you read, it's still new and it's still foreign. And there's going to be so many things you didn't think about and you won't even know about until you do it, until you try it. And even me, this build, there were things I didn't realize were going to be an issue until I had completely finished it and put everything together. And I think it might be really beneficial, you know, to watch as many videos as you can, see as many tours, check out my mobile dwelling tour playlist. You know, see as many vans as you can and figure out a layout you really like, and then build it really sloppily and really cheaply and go out for like a weekend or go out for a week or something. Go on a little trip and see how you like it, because I guarantee you, you'll find something that you wish you had done differently or that just didn't work at all, or maybe you want to scrap the whole thing and start from scratch like I like to do every 6 months. Don't be afraid to fail, man. Mozart didn't write his masterpiece the first time he wrote a song, so it's okay to fail. And yeah, you're gonna, as long as you know, keep in mind that you can learn something, you'll always learn something. So there's no such thing as failure. Let's see here. Number 9, convenience. Okay, so there's a balance between like function and storage and the amount of stuff and simple and convenient, and it's been really hard for me to find this balance personally. It may not be for you at all, but especially in an Astro van, it's been hard for me. So you can have like just a bed and just like a thing of water and, you know, like a couple little storage areas, and that's it. That's what I plan on having in the future. I'm going like as simple as possible. Or you can have this extravagant, you know, you have to flip the this cabinet over and then pull this out and then pull this thing out to get the bed out. But once you get into that territory where it gets really complex and you have to do something else or do something to get to something, after a time, for me, it becomes a hassle. I'm kind of impatient, I'm kind of impulsive. I'm really impatient, impulsive actually, depending on what it is. But anyway, I don't like having to do something before I do something else. If I want to go to bed, I want to just lay down and go to bed. I don't want this fancy bed thing that I have to do all this stuff for. If I want to cook food, I want to just pull out a pot, you know, grab some food, throw it in the pot and cook it and eat it. I don't want to have to do all this different stuff, you know what I mean? So that's something to think about. Depending on what kind of person you are, maybe you're totally cool with this setup of, you know, having to do something else, you know. This design is really intricate and really interesting. You can see a tour of it in my in that playlist I was talking about. So I'm gonna move on so that I don't ramble too much. And number 10 is try not to waste space, man. We've got such a small little area, and one way that I'm wasting space right now, which I would not be. I know my hair is totally funky right now, right? But it's getting warm in here because I'm talking so much. One way that I'm wasting space is I could put a cabinets right here, like little foam cabinets. I could build little foam ones, and it would be really nifty because I could just stick little stuff in there. I don't know what I'd put in there, but I just knocked over a star. But yeah, just wasted space. Check this out. I bought this thing. This it's a shoe deal. I don't know what you call it, like a shoe holder or something. And that has been awesome because I use that thing all the time. Otherwise, that would just be totally wasted space. So try to take advantage of every little nook and cranny that you possibly can. But I'm going to try not to make this video too long and ramble too much. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my playlist, like, subscribe, tell the world about this video, and love yourself. Woo!